Hi there, just a quick video on how I make my biltong. So this is a traditional South African recipe. It's the basic traditional recipe. Biltong was made with coriander, pepper and then vinegars. The pepper and the vinegars are basically to keep flies and bugs off because it was dried in the shade. Opposed to in the sun or being smoked like jerky, and then the salt was to then help draw and also help draw the water out of the meat, but then also to help preserve it. So what I do is I use a pepper crusher, and what I do is the first round is half salt, and I use a Himalayan salt, and I use a pepper grinder that you can adjust. So this is adjusted to a point where it'll actually just basically split the peppercorns and the coriander. What you don't want is you don't want it to be fine dust. You want the salt to be still large crystals, and you want the pepper and the coriander just to be split, not powder. Otherwise it becomes too salty and too flavored by the pepper and the coriander. Right, so I use red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar. I have a dish, I have my meat. I then put the meat into the dish, splish it around in the vinegar. I use half and you only need a little bit in the bottom. I then put it in here. I grind on my salt spice mix, turn it over, salt spice mix, tap it on, next one, and I do each piece of meat like that. So then each one has got salt and spices on both sides. Layer it up, put cling film over, put it in the fridge overnight. Next day, take it out, and then you'll see all the juices, the salt has started to draw all the juices out. But what's also happened is the salt is now dissolved off, and it's also taken a lot of the spices with it. So what you now need to do is fill this up again, but this time you use 1/3 salt, 1/3 pepper, 1/3 coriander, mix it all up, and that's what I'm doing now. What I use for hooks is I use large paper clips. The reason being they're strong and they've got a really thin wire so you can poke it through the meat. So what I'm doing now is I'm loading my biltong machine, putting the spices on and salt to both sides. Do this to taste, and I'm afraid you're going to have to make lots of biltong over and over and keep testing until you get it right. But I can guarantee you nothing ever goes to waste. Put that through there, and then you bend them and then turn them 90 degrees so they will hang so that they don't actually touch each other. What you want to is initially you want your meat to be about 20 mils thick, and the width doesn't really matter, length doesn't really matter, but you want it to be quite a chunky, sizable piece of meat, about 20 mils to an inch thick. Do the top and the bottom, tap it on, get all the edges, put that there. And so we go until we've loaded the biltong machine, and then make sure all the bits are not touching the sides or each other, and then fire it up. And then, so basically all the biltong machine is, it's a 240 volt computer fan and a 100 watt light in a box. It's got ventilation in the front and the bottom. Air comes in, gets warmed up slightly, and then the fan draws it out, and then takes about 5 or 6 days, and then the small pieces are starting to get ready to eat, and enjoy. Thank you.